This will be for the Khan Academy exercise, sample and population standard deviation. Now, I already made a video with this particular exercise, but in the one that I made previously, I solved the problems using Google Sheets. Okay, so you might want to check that out and do, I don't know, one or two of the problems using Google Sheets, because this is a very tedious process to do manually. Anyhow, for this particular exercise, it may help for you to use a table, construct a table similar to this one, okay? And at the top, you want to find the mean and n, which is the number of data points, okay? And then you're going to list the data in the left column. You're going to take the difference from the mean in this column and then square each one of those in this column. You take the sum, and then you're going to divide by either n minus 1 or n, and then take the square root. So we'll go over this in a moment, but you're going to use n minus 1 if it's just a sample, and you're going to use n in the denominator if you have the whole population. All right, so we'll get to that later. But like I said, you might want to construct a table like this, and then you could have everything organized. All right, so it says you have found the following ages in years of 6 lions. These lions were randomly selected from the 22 lions at your local zoo. Okay, so we have 6 ages here. They took 6 lions out of 22 lions. So since it's 6 out of 22, do we have all of the lions? No, we do not. Okay, so in this case, we only have a sample. Okay, and for the sample, you're going to use n minus 1. All right, so this is just a sample because it's not all of the lions. It's only 6 out of 22 lions. So we're going to use n minus 1, but that's going to be much later. Anyhow, let's copy the data into the first column, 13, 2, 1, 5, 2, 7. All right, copy the data. All right, so that's going to be 13, 13, 2, 1, 5, 2, 7. All right, so that is our data right there. I know it says test score, but that's just our data. Okay, and we want to find the mean. So as you know, for mean, you just take the sum of the data. So 13 and 2 is 15, 20, plus 1 and 2 is 23, plus 7 is 30. Okay, and how many numbers do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 numbers, so 30 divided by 6 is just 5. All right, so that is the mean. And n is just how many numbers or how many data points there are. We counted 6, so that's just going to be 6. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's why n equals 6, because there's 6 numbers. Now, we're going to take the difference from the mean. Okay, this x bar right here, this x bar is actually the mean. Okay, and the x is the regular data points. So on each one, it's going to start with x. So let's rewrite these numbers. 13, 2, 1, 5, 2, 7. Okay, and in each case, it's going to be minus the mean. So in each case, the mean was 5. It's going to be minus 5 in each case. All right. 13 minus 5 is 8. 2 minus 5, negative 3. 1 minus 5, negative 4. 5 minus 5 is 0. 2 minus 5 is negative 3. 7 minus 5 is 2. Now for the next step, we're going to square each one of those. We found the difference from the mean, and we're going to square each one. So technically, it does not matter if these are positive or negative, because once you square it, it's going to be positive. All right, so don't even worry about the plus minus sign. We're going to do 8 squared. We're going to do 3 squared. We're going to do 4 squared. 0 squared. 3 squared. And 2 squared. All right, and squaring each one, 8 squared, 3 squared, 4 squared, 0 squared, 3 squared, and 2 squared. All right, so we have the difference of the mean. Then in this box right here, we want to find the sum of the difference of the mean squared. So we're just taking the sum. 64 plus 16 is 80. 9 plus 9 is 18. Plus 80 is 98. Plus 4, that's going to be a 102. All right, so we just took the sum. We just took the sum of those numbers. Okay, and we got 102. And now we can go to our formula. All right, so it's going to, this is the formula for standard deviation. It's going to be the square root. And in the numerator, the sum of the difference from the means, this number right here, that goes in your numerator. Okay, so that's in the numerator. That's 102. And previously, we said it was 6 out of 22 lions. So we're going to use n minus 1. Okay, so just real quick, put this in your notes. For the sample, you want to use n minus 1. But if you have the whole population, which we're going to do in a minute, if you have the whole population, you're just going to use n. Okay, this is for the denominator right here. So if you have just the sample, you use n minus 1 like it says. If you have the whole population, just use n instead of n minus 1. So n minus 1 is basically, n is 6, so it's going to be 6 minus 1. All right, so I'm going to go to the calculator, and I'm going to do the square root of 102 divided by 5. Okay, let's go to the calculator. All right, so we're looking at the square root of 102 divided by 5, close parentheses. Okay, right there. Hit equals, and they probably said 1 or 2 decimals. So if it says 2 decimals, all right, you look at the third decimal. If it's 5 or more, you round it up. So 4.51 rounded off is going to be 4.52. So that is your standard deviation. All right, 4.52. Khan Academy actually said 1 decimal. So we're just going to keep it as 4.5 for the final answer. All right, and that's your standard deviation. And the mean or the average is 5. So we have 5 for the mean, and we have 4.5 for the standard deviation. All right, so 5 for the average and 4.5 for the standard deviation. So that's basically it. I'll do one more, but these are very easy to make a mistake on. So like I said, I would do one, at least 1, if not 2 of these, and then maybe do the rest on Google Sheets. All right, next up, you have found the following ages in years of all 4 bears at your local zoo. Okay, so is this a sample or a population? Well, it clearly says all 4 bears. So this is going to be a population. The last one was a sample because it was like 6 out of 22 lions. But right here it says all 4 bears. So it's the entire population of bears. So in our final calculation, we are going to use n instead of n minus 1. Okay, so that's for the population. You want to use n. Anyhow, that's going to be like the last step. So let's get to work on the table. All right, the numbers we have, 5, 4, 6, 39. Let's copy those. And then we're going to find the average and standard deviation. 5, 4, 6, 39. All right, on the table, right here, 5, 4, 6, 39. Okay, like I said, this is not test scores. This is just X, the data points. All right. You don't even need this printout, really. You could just make columns just like I have here. And, of course, to find the mean, you add them up and divide by how many? 5 plus 4 is 9, plus 6 is 15, plus 39 is going to be 54. How many numbers do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's going to be divided by 4. All right, and that's the same as 27 over 2. And 27 over 2 is the same as 13.5. So that is the mean. All right, 13.5. All right, so we definitely need the mean. Okay, we said n is how many numbers we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers, right? That's why we divided by 4. We have 4 numbers. All right, next up, difference from the mean. You start with x, so you just rewrite the numbers you have here, 5, 4, 6, and 39. Minus x bar. Remember, x bar is your mean. So in each case, we're going to subtract the mean. That's 13.5. All right, this one's a pain in the neck because there's decimals. All right. Like I said before, positive or negative, it really doesn't matter. So you can subtract backwards if it's easier for you. Okay, 13.5 minus 5. That is going to be 8.5. 13.5 minus 4, that's 9.5. 13.5 minus 6, 7.5. And 39 minus 13 is 26. Minus 0.5 is 25.5. Now, I understand these 3 really would be negative, but it does not matter. We are going to square each one in the next column, which would automatically make it positive. All right, so 8.5 squared. I'm going to have to go to the calculator on these. 9.5 squared, 7.5 squared, and 25.5 squared. All right, I'm going to do each one of these on the calculator. All right, I did each one. And just like last time, we're going to find the sum of all of these numbers. And I get 869. All right, so the sum of the difference of the mean squared, that's going to be 869. Okay, I basically just added up all the numbers squared. And that number is going to be your numerator. All right, right here, the sum of the squares. So this is going to be the square root. And in the numerator, we just found that, 869. And in the denominator, we said if you have the whole population, you're going to use n instead of n minus 1. So forget the n minus 1. We're going to use n. All right. So what was n? Well, n was the number of values, and that was just 4. All right. So we have the square root of 869 divided by 4. Let's go to the calculator. All right. Square root of 869 divided by, well, that's a plus sign, divided by 4, close parentheses. All right, hit equals or hit enter. Whoops, let me see. Okay, and Con wants us to round off to 1 decimal place. So 1 decimal place, you just look at the second decimal. If it's less than 5, you round it down. So that's going to be 14.7. All right, so right here, the approximation is 14.7. And that is your standard deviation. And the mean was 13.5. So we have 13.5 and 14.7. 13.5 and 14.7, rounded to the nearest tenth. All right, so that's it. Like I said, I would do 1 or 2 by hand, and then you could check out my other video and do the rest by using Google Sheets.